Hello everyone and welcome to today's webinar on the top 6 ways to reward your digital champions and drive success. From learning how to engage your employees and all the way to recognition, rewards and how to measure your success, buckle up and get ready for a great webinar ahead. My name's Katie Rumbelow and I'm a marketing executive here at Changing Social, and with me today I have my colleague and customer success manager, Matt Wally. To contact us after the webinar, use our emails that are in the chat now, and please feel free to connect with us on LinkedIn whenever you would like. And finally, I'll be monitoring the Q&A for you today, so please pop your messages in there and we'll ask them at the end. Amazing, so we've just got a few quick housekeeping bits. To enable live captions, click the settings icon and select captions, subtitles, and choose your language preference there. For any questions, click the chat icon, hit ask a question and decide if you want to include your name or be anonymous. But for now, I'm going to pass you over to Matt and he'll get us started with today's session.
Amazing. Thank you very much, Katie, and hello everyone. Yeah, great to be here today just to run you through what we're going to be talking about, what I'm going to be presenting to you on this session. So it's kind of going to go in 4 key parts, really. We're first going to think about what employee engagement currently looks like or could look like in your organization. That's the place to start with this when we're thinking about recognition and reward, actually starting with that why, thinking about what's the most important to you and what sort of things you want to recognize, what you want to reward. We'll then look at your communities in a bit more detail, think about how we might measure the success of those communities, and then go into the actual techniques that we use at Changing Social for recognition, for reward, and how to keep people's motivation high when they're engaged in programs such as this one. And then finally, we will have a question and answer session. So anything that you do have through the call today, following what Katie just mentioned a moment ago, any questions, we can answer those at the end of today's session. So firstly, employee engagement in your organization. Just take a moment to think about what that looks like. What do those engaged employees look like in your organization? Now, different people on the call at this stage will be thinking of different things. There'll be some people thinking about those that are active in employee engagement networks, in those networks that might go outside of somebody's role, areas of passion, areas of interest of networks that are present at your organization. You might be looking at those star performers in your teams, in your departments, those people who are actively going above and beyond and being quite vocal about their performance as well, those people that stand out above the rest and make that conscious effort to stand out above the rest as well, those people who are showing their best all the time. You might also as well be thinking about those contributors across the business, those people who you might see on your intranet pages, you might see hosting webinars, you might see hosting different things and being interviewed about their role in the organization, what they might do in the organization, those people who are willing to give the time to be those people who, again, are kind of that public facing figure of what your organization might be. Or lastly, you are on a call today about recognizing and rewarding champions. You may be thinking about those champions networks that you have in your organization, and those champions networks may well encompass the sorts of people that we've mentioned across all of the different other elements I mentioned there on what employee engagement might look like in your organization. Now, you may well know at Changing Social, we run digital champions networks, we lead digital champions networks for organizations around the globe of all different sizes. Our champions communities range from being as small as 50 people in an organization all the way through to being upwards of 1,000 people in an organization. So that gives you an idea of the different sizes of organization that we work with and how we make our champions programs work for them. And a lot of today's call will be focused around the lessons that we've learned on our champions programs, the things that we do well to get that recognition, to get that reward and keep people engaged in long-term programs like the digital champions that we run. So digital champions, firstly, thinking about why we may have digital champions, why you might have digital champions, and really thinking about that why is a super important place to start with your recognition and your reward of digital champions. Or you may look at this from an overall employee perspective as well. What are you actually looking for from them? So firstly, it's important to think about our community of like-minded learners. A digital champion community isn't just a learning environment. It's a hub of inspiration and collaboration where curiosity gets rewarded and transformation gets celebrated. Digital champions, in our perspective, aren't IT professionals, but they're actually everyday people, everyday heroes who are armed with enthusiasm and a shared goal of work optimization. They're people who foster a digitally savvy culture that directly contributes to superior customer service, improves employee engagement, and ultimately saves money, saves cost for our stakeholders. Research has shown that creating a community to lead change in your organization is significantly more powerful than people working alone. Successful organizational change is often driven by communities that share a common vision, they collaborate effectively, and leaders who focus on building that community of change agents are more likely to achieve sustainable transformation compared with those who solely rely on individual efforts. That means that organizations who foster that sense of community, they encourage collaboration across their members. They're organizations that are better equipped to navigate the complex changes and achieve goals that they've set out from such a change as well. The approach, therefore, not only enhances the effectiveness of different change initiatives, but also promotes a culture of continuous learning and improvement. Now, what we wrap around the Champions program is a highly structured approach to all different areas of that, to the preparation, to the delivery, and the demonstration of impact. So that enables us to ensure that the customers we work with are meeting their goals, meeting their objectives, by establishing this community of digital champions. When we run these programs, we undergo a detailed discovery phase. We conduct an organization-wide maturity assessment, which helps us to identify capability with Microsoft 365. And we also host roundtables with key stakeholders to align all of the business areas together. This isn't something that's hosted in one part of the business. It's something that all parts of the business are encouraged to collaborate and be involved with. What that means is that we're not leaving anything to chance. And we use the results of those assessments, those conversations to develop goals for the engagement, to develop goals for the community, and identify actually what behaviors are expected of what you might perceive as a successful champions community. We've then got 5 years of content lined up, 5 years worth of content. We run these programs for 12 months at a time. We have 5 years worth of content, which means that we're ready to handpick and tailor a solution for any organization that we work with, all built around the goals that you've identified, but that we've developed and brought to that place together. Now, in practice, what that could look like, I've got on the screen here an example of one of our 12 weeks plans. So as I said, we run these learning campaigns over 12 months. Over that time, we run 4 12-week campaigns. And like I said, we've got a selection of 20 possible campaigns. This is a step-by-step example of what one of those campaigns on a page could look like. What you're seeing here is an example of how we might make our structure work for you, regardless of whatever your digital capability is, people's experience using Microsoft 365, and how we structure those campaigns accordingly. So you'll see on your screen here, step by step, there's something every single week. We start off with a champion briefing. That's where we have our community managers, people who are dedicated to working in your community, who every day are in that community. At this stage, they're saying, right, let's set out the goals for the next 12 weeks. Here's what we expect you to achieve. Let's have a moment for you to think about what that might look like for you. So we'll show examples, we'll show potential use cases for different parts of your business on that call. And then people will identify, right, okay, I think I could use that tool to fix this problem. I think I could use that tool to fix this problem because of the demonstrations that are being shown by our community managers. And then we have other live sessions throughout as well. We have our product sessions led by our trainers. You can see the titles of those there. We look at integrating new tools like New Planner. We look at Loop in that second product session, there, especially how you can use that in team meetings in your third product session. We'll then start to look at different analytics tools within Microsoft 365 as well. We look at Power BI there. We look at Viva Insights there as well. So understanding around the workplace activity, around themes that are important to you, actually how we can use the Microsoft tools to improve those workplace activities, improve those ways of working for your champions and organization as well. Now you'll notice in here, look at what we've got. We've got challenges in there. We've got knowledge checks in there. We've got product sessions. We've got a champion showcase at the end as well. Our champion showcase is where we celebrate the success of those different champions, where we show that evidence, show those stories of the things people are doing differently to what they were doing at the start of that learning campaign. And what we're doing here is creating opportunities for success. When we're thinking about reward, we're thinking about recognition. People need to be successful. For people to be successful, they need to be given the opportunity to be successful. So by hosting all of these different elements of the program, we're giving people to have that opportunity to be successful, to make changes, and ultimately be in a position where, you know what, they could be recognized, they could be rewarded. So when we're thinking about that, that's an example of what the program could look like from a campaign perspective. But the key question all the way through this is, what are you trying to achieve? Brilliant that you've got an employee engagement network for a particular area. It might be digital champions, it might be something else. But always thinking about, why have you started that community? 2 years later, are you still doing the same thing that you were 2 years previously? Are you still striving towards the same goal? Have those goals changed potentially? But when it comes to recognition and reward, I can't overestimate the importance of actually understanding the behaviors you want to recognize, the behaviors that you want to reward, and therefore giving you the opportunity, giving people the opportunity to be successful with that. What we do at Changing Social, again, is host a lot of different measurement metrics, a lot of different ways that we can identify success and therefore identify those people who do deserve that recognition, who do deserve that reward. And in this little section here, I'm just going to show you a few of the things that we do on a regular basis to make sure that our champions are being successful. So on this first slide here, you'll notice I say a lot during this that success is more than attendance. We find that often the first thing that people think of when it comes to what's the success of this learning program is the first thing to come out of so many people's mouths is how many people are going to attend. That shows what engagement is. Now we know, everybody knows that people join calls sometimes, they might attend, but how much are they actually taking in? How much are they actually learning? And how much are they then transferring to the rest of their organization? That's the important part. People attending something is not a measure of success on its own. Attending something is the very, very beginning, but actually what are they doing with that learning afterwards and where are they taking that? So there's some examples here of the questions we ask at the start of the program, at the end of a program, or the start of a campaign, at the end of a campaign, to show that progress, to show how people are making those changes and what that actually looks like in organizations. So you can see on the left side of your screen here, we've asked the same question at the beginning and at the end of a campaign. So 12 weeks apart, these different metrics. We're seeing how often people use To Do, how often people use OneDrive. What we're looking for in that metric is that purple bar to disappear as much as possible, to decrease as much as possible, and those blue bars to grow as much as possible. And you can see in both of those comparative graphs, we're seeing a lot more blue at the end of our campaigns. We're seeing a lot less purple at the end of our campaign. So straight away, we're going, right, okay, we wanted people to use the wider Microsoft 365 suite. To Do is an example of that. More people are doing it. Great, we're doing what we wanted to achieve. Again, with OneDrive, file sharing might be a problem in your organization. People saving things to the cloud might be a problem in your organization. We want to see more people working in OneDrive. Again, reduce the purple, increase the blue. So we've got that there on the screen, and we can see on the screen there, especially that right-hand side graph, how the number of people using OneDrive regularly in that organization has gone from around 50% of the champions at the start of a campaign to around 75% of the champions at the end of the campaign. So just in 12 weeks, we've implemented things that make those changes very quickly. Again, on the right-hand side there, we've got productivity savings. An example from an organization that we work with again, where champions in the space of 12 weeks told us that they could save 80 minutes a week as a result of their improved use of Microsoft 365. Now, you might turn that into a financial measure. You might look at that in terms of how much time could be saved every year. Just in that champions community there, we're looking at 14,000 hours per year potentially being saved. But we can build on the story again. How are people actually using that time? We might set out at the start of the program, do you know what? Personal development is a problem in our organization. People are asking for opportunities for personal development, but actually they're not able to take those on because they're doing too much work. They're working over their hours all the time. They're not able to take on much personal development. But we can see here that over 50% of our champions are using the time they're saving for personal development. So again, we're providing the metrics that fit the answers of what you're looking for from this program. Some more examples of that. We develop apps in-house. Everything that we do at Changing Social is built in-house, and the way that we engage our champions is exactly the same. What you can see in front of you here is some screenshots of some apps that we build for engagement. These are built on Power Apps, linked to SharePoint lists, linked to Power Automate flows as well, to make sure that people have got different ways of engaging in our program. We have knowledge checks, quizzes that are released after every single webinar. That's a 5-question multiple choice quiz, where if after a webinar, after a live session, people want to check their learning, confirm that they have actually understood the delivery of that session, they can go in, spend a few minutes, do their 5-question multiple choice quiz, get 100%. If somebody doesn't get 100%, they can review their answers, they can retake the quiz as many times as they like. So again, thinking about that attitude of giving people the opportunity to succeed, giving people the chance to attend a live session, to then reinforce their learning with a knowledge check and say, do you know what? I have achieved that. I have been able to understand that new information that has been taught to me. So that knowledge check app, a really important part again of how we might start to frame reward, frame recognition. Then we have the leaderboard app on the right-hand side. We can reward points or award points for the behaviors that you identify on this program. It might be some challenges that we set for sharing learning with your colleagues. It might be for replying to posts and creating an active Teams community. It might be simply for attending sessions if that's something that's important to you. Again, that leaderboard creates a sense of healthy competition, creates a sense of that understanding of what other people are doing on the program as well. So just some ideas on this page here of how we might use our applications to help your engagement in the program, to help your employees' engagement in the program, and then provide us with a platform for recognition, provide us with a platform for reward and what that could look like. Now, I'm aware that I'm talking through this Digital Champions Engagement, Digital Champions Program, starting to get into a bit of detail, but it is quite surface level in terms of what we actually do, what we're going through today, because we are focusing on reward and recognition. If you've seen something today that you're interested in, maybe it's the way we collect our data, for example, the way that we engage different employees across different organizations, then you may want to know more. If you do want to know more, we can book in a detailed Champions Discovery call to see if the Champions program is going to fit well in your organization. So you can use the QR code on your screen. If you've not already, get your phone out of your pocket, scan that QR code, visit our website, and you'll be able to book a Champions Discovery call directly from there. If you put your details in with that QR code as well, you'll also receive a recording of today's webinar, a breakdown of our different services, not just of our Digital Champion service, and also a description that we provide for what a champion should be doing, our champion's job description, what we mean by that person's title. Right, there are a few more elements that we measure. So I'm just going to show you this as well, different things that we measure, things that we use at Changing Social to demonstrate the impact of communities and provide us with that platform for reward and recognition. So the adoption score is one of those. You may be sitting here thinking, yes, I use the adoption score all the time. I go into our admin center, I look at this regularly. I understand exactly what I'm seeing on the screen here. There's going to be other people on the call who are looking at that going, I have never seen that in my life before. I've never seen the adoption score. If you are one of those people and you have admin access, I highly, highly recommend taking a click to the Microsoft Admin Center, going into reports like you can see on the left-hand side of your screen there, seeing if you have access to the adoption score. This isn't just taking information from champions or taking information from individual people. This is in the back end, understanding how people across your organization are using different tools. Now, Microsoft split this up into two categories. I'm not going to go into this in too much detail, but two categories, people experiences and technology experiences. Those technology experiences is how you've got people set up with the devices that they have, what is available to them in your organization. It's hard on a champions program or on an engagement program to really affect that too much. But the people experiences, things that people are actually doing, yes, that's exactly what we can aim for, exactly where we can spot those areas for improvement and identify again, what does success look like when it comes to this adoption score. Now, it is a little bit small on the screen here, but you can see that there's 5 different areas of the adoption score. You've got communication, how people are using different communication tools, what percentage of people are using 2 or more modes of communication. By that, we mean using more than Outlook, not just keeping all their communication in Outlook, but are they working in Teams? Are they working in Teams channels? Are they working in Viva Engage, for example? There's a meeting score, the way that people behave on their meetings can save a lot of time. Microsoft's number is that people can save up to 104 minutes a week when people are using online meeting tools effectively. So there's a score for that. There's content collaboration where people are collaborating with online files, again predicted to save around 100 minutes a week if being done effectively. So scores can be collected from different metrics to put that score together. We've got teamwork as well, where people are collaborating in a shared workspace. It might be in an Outlook group, it might be in a SharePoint site, it might be in Teams. When people are doing that collectively and when people are doing that together, they can save up to 4 hours per week, half a day back every single week, just by collaborating more effectively with the tools that are already there available to people. If that score's low, that's an area where I recommend immediately that people should be looking to improve that score and identifying how they can do that. Again, thinking with reward, thinking with recognition, identifying what that success might look like for your organization. And then finally, a mobility score. How people are communicating across different devices. Are people communicating via mobile, for example? Are they just using their desktop? Are they using the online apps? I'll tell you now, most organizations find that less people are using the online apps than they expect. So again, looking at this as a metric, that might be something that's important to you, thinking about that again. I think the best thing about this to me is that these are metrics that are collected from the back end. Not every organization in the world wants to use those as their metrics for success, but some organizations do. Again, providing you with as many options as possible to say, right, that's what our success looks like. It is by increasing the adoption score, or it is by increasing how many people are using a particular tool. You will know yourselves how to identify that, and that's a process that we can support you with as a part of our discovery phase as well. And the final slide I do want to show you on the measurement of particular metrics there is the impact of our digital champions offering across 12 months. Now this graph is put together in a similar way to one that you saw earlier, where the darker bars are representing confidence, the lighter bars are representing a lack of confidence. Now, I'm not going to read out all the numbers to you there. You can see for yourselves how much darker that graph on the right is on the left. We've removed the vast majority of those light bars. We've got a lot more dark bars on the right-hand side. That shows you how much progress people in our communities make. Just to throw some of the numbers at you there, the people who are saying they're confident using Teams is 64% at the start of this program, and it was 94% at the end of that program. People who are confident using OneDrive was 42% at the start of this program. It increased to 79% afterwards. And for SharePoint as well, 36% of people before the program were confident using SharePoint. 83% of people were confident after the program. You can see the enormous shift there. You can see how far we take people in your organization. Even looking at Planner, one of those less familiar tools, just 9% of people at the start of the program were confident using Planner. By the end of this program, over 40% of people are confident using Planner. These are enormous increases. These are increases where, again, we've measured our metrics and gone, right, this is really successful. We can look at those people who've been really successful. We can look at those people who are sharing this learning with their colleagues and start to think about how much impact they are actually having at our organization. And the answer in this case is huge. Next, we're going into actual methods of reward, actual methods of recognition, and understanding what people want. Understanding what people actually want is the most important part of this. Do they want to be recognized formally? Do they want to be rewarded formally? Not everybody wants the same, but putting different elements together, different things together that are going to support as many people as possible is how you sustain high engagement in a busy community like the ones offered by our Digital Champions programs. So firstly, we're looking at line managers. We communicate with line managers. Line managers are the gateway to successful contributions from Digital Champions. They protect the time for people to participate, while also creating opportunities and advocacy for people to transfer their knowledge to others. Makes recognition from those people very effective, highly effective. Achievements and contributions are acknowledged, those in management positions, and those can significantly boost morale and motivation of those people. Line managers are playing that pivotal role in providing personalized feedback and encouragement, highlighting specific examples of excellence, and discussing the positive impact on the team and their organization as a whole. We support champions to share their progress in one-on-one meetings, to share their progress in performance reviews, reinforcing the value placed on their efforts and on their contributions as well. This method doesn't only foster individual growth, but also strengthens the relationship between the employee and the manager, creating a supportive and nurturing work environment. Another powerful method of recognition is peer-to-peer recognition, recognition from those people around us. People like to receive praise and thanks from their colleagues. It's human nature. This approach leverages mutual respect amongst colleagues to acknowledge and celebrate each other's accomplishments. Peer recognition could take many different forms. It could be a shout out in a Teams meeting. It could be a personalized note of appreciation. It could be some informal gathering to celebrate a success, for example. But again, as part of our programs, take all that back. As part of our programs, we offer a structured peer recognition program where people around your organization provide kudos to champions through one click who've supported them to improve the efficiency of their workplace activities. We foster that culture of support and appreciation, and employees feel valued not just by their supervisors, but by their colleagues as well. We're encouraging teamwork, we're encouraging collaboration, and employees are motivated to support and recognize the excellence and the efforts of their peers. Now, public recognition, this might take the form of a post in Viva Engage in a community. It might be something in a company intranet post, but it's an excellent way to highlight the achievements of champions participants. This method involves showcasing successes and contributions in a visible and formal manner, allowing the entire organization to acknowledge and celebrate and be inspired by these individuals. Regularly featuring stories of a champions program in newsletters, on company intranet, and through social media channels really does enhance the sense of pride and the sense of accomplishment of the people who are putting that work in. Additionally, public recognition inspires other champions to strive for similar achievements, aspire to participate in the champions program potentially, and therefore not only elevating individuals, but also reinforcing that culture of recognition and celebration within your organization. And then when it comes to reward, firstly, probably the thing people think about the most when you hear the term reward is those financial rewards. But I'm going to help you put a little bit of a different spin on this today. One of the most, probably the most tangible way to reward participation in champions programs is through some kind of financial incentive. Now that could take the form of working towards bonuses, working towards salary increases around the achievement of particular specific goals in their role of a champion. It could take the form of Amazon vouchers or other vouchers being rewarded to the most impactful champions. And that's a metric, again, that can support you to define success in your organization. But financial rewards go beyond salary increases or gifts. Some of our organizations offer additional holiday, for example, to their most effective champions. And just think about that. It sounds like a big move, but think about that. If someone has implemented a new business process that's saving colleagues 2 hours every week, the cost of 1 or 2 days holiday is minimal to your organization. Additionally, customers may offer investment in professional certifications, such as those offered by Microsoft, showing them the continued commitment to personal and professional growth that you have. Financial rewards are a direct acknowledgement of people's hard work and dedication, and they do serve as a powerful motivator for many. By investing in that well-being, by investing in development, you don't only reward the current contributions of a champions community, but you're also equipping people with the tools to make even greater contributions in the future. Now, progression, stepping away from finances a little bit. Participation in a champions program can be recognized through career progression opportunities. This would involve providing clear and structured pathways for advancement within the organization. You know, you need promotions in there, chances to get into leadership roles or involvement in high visibility projects. Now, this is one of the benefits of our programs like our Digital Champions program that's often unforeseen by our customers when we first start working together with them. One thing that we do see is how people don't recognize the opportunity for networking within your communities. People from different areas of your organization will start to collaborate. Colleagues will get the opportunity to develop their personal brand as a result. Those opportunities can lead to growth opportunities. They can act as an incentive for champions to provide innovative solutions to challenges being faced. Recognizing champions with some element of career progression helps to identify and retain that top talent, as employees are seeing a direct correlation between their contributions and their professional enhancement as well. And then lastly, the chance to share opportunities. By providing opportunities to share learning and experiences with others, we provide champions with the resources required to have that impact. We enable them to transfer their newly acquired knowledge through your organization, and this is the key bit, at pace. We help them do things quickly. People don't have enough time for it to be slow. Now, that might take the form of leading workshops, of leading team calls, presenting something at a company-wide or department-wide meeting, or participating in mentorship programs, coaching colleagues, bringing people through that system. By giving them a platform to share their insights, we're not only recognizing people's expertise, but also empowering people to influence and inspire their peers. This method of recognition and reward reinforces the value of that knowledge sharing and continuous learning within your organization. It also helps to build a strong community of practice where people learn from each other and collaborate to drive collective success. Encouraging champions to share their learning fosters a culture of openness, a culture of innovation, and new ideas and best practices are disseminated throughout your organization. Now, to summarize where we've been on today's call, firstly, the definition of your success, starting with why. You can see Changing Social's logo in the bottom right of your screen there, and you might notice that circle is very similar to the golden circle from Simon Sinek. That's our inspiration for the way we do things at Changing Social. Before you look at reward, before you look at recognition, you need to understand why you're rewarding, why you're recognizing people, and what that actually wants to look like. Then we need to think about the collection of that information. How are you going to collect that information? When are you going to collect that information? I showed you a few examples of the questions we ask through Microsoft Forms today. I showed you what we look at in the back end as well with some organizations. I've showed you how we collect that. We collect that information on a regular basis to ensure that we're able to reward people, that we're able to recognize people who participate in those programs with us. Analyzing that information that you've collected is also crucial. What has actually been successful? Going back to that start with why. Okay, we've identified the goals. How does the information we've collected reflect those goals? What reflects that we're achieving those goals? How do we know that it's being successful? So thinking about that analysis, thinking about actually, okay, now I can identify the behavior and the people exhibiting the behavior that deserves, in our opinion, that reward, that recognition as well. Making sure we've got key stakeholders included along the way also there. So making sure that line managers are involved, for example, executives might be involved, all those key people along the way. This isn't just led by one person in your organization. No employee engagement network can be. That buy-in from across your organization, from as many people as possible, is going to create that collaboration and make sure that your champions have got that opportunity for success. And then finally, reinforcement, celebrating that success out loud, whether that is through public recognition, whether that's through career progression opportunities, whether that's through something as simple as people sharing their learning and having the platform to share that learning as well. Celebrating that success is incredibly important, and that's how you know, that's how we show that recognition and that reward of our champions. Okay, time now for you to ask your questions. I believe questions may have been coming in as we go, Katie. So Katie, I'm going to hand over to you there.
Right, Matt. So we've got one question from Rachel, which was, how did you measure the time saved? Did the champions report the time saved themselves? That's the only one so far.
Great, thank you. So the way that we do that, I mean, yeah, obviously we have to respect people's, we can't go in and see exactly what people have been doing every day. We don't ask them to track time directly. But what we do in one of our forms, one of the questions that we ask is, how much time do you believe you're saving as a result of your learning on the program? And it's a multiple choice question as well. So we ask them to select categories of the time that they are saving, and then we can draw an average from the responses that we get. The responses that we get go up to more than 4 hours a week, so more than half a day a week. And we do get some champions in every community that we work with who are saving that amount of time every week.
Amazing, thank you, Matt. And did anyone else have any other questions? I'll leave the Q&A open for sort of a minute and we'll see if anything else comes through.
Brilliant. I'll go forward to this slide then, Katie, just to round us off while any questions might be coming through. So again, as I said in the middle of the call, if you do want to know more about our Champions programs and what they might look like for your organization, maybe you run Champions programs already and the sort of things we've shown you are are different to what you're doing at the moment, and you might want some advice, some support with how you can do that going forwards. It may be that you've considered champions programs and you've never quite known how to start them, or you've not had the time to start them. Then you can book a discovery call with us and we will help you to identify how champions could work for you, and ultimately thinking about how you're helping people to develop those new ways of working in the way that 2024 and 2025 that they should be, not like they were 10 years ago, for example. So if you do scan that QR code and provide your details, you will get a recording of today's webinar. You'll see a breakdown of the different services that Changing Social offer, and also a job description of our digital champions. We'll also set up that call for you as well. Any more questions coming, Katie?
Yeah, so we've got one more, which is, if you don't have access to Microsoft Admin Area, how would you request details of the engagement reports?
So we wouldn't get access to that admin area directly. We would work with our stakeholders at the different organizations to see that adoption score and the usage figures that are in the back end. So for us, it's identifying who those people are. And if organizations are willing to share that data, then we can utilize that data and support with the identification of different goals that we would use to inform that champions program and to inform the direction of our learning.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Matt. So we're going to conclude today's webinar. We hope you've had a wonderful time. We thank you very much for spending your time with us today. We hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and we hope you found this useful. Take care, everyone.